All right. Good afternoon, morning, evening to whomever is tuning in. From Alice Defense, Mark Colley here, owner and executive instructor. Again, like I said, thanks for tuning in to another segment. Not exactly a kitchen talk that we're running today, but I just wanted to address some of the FAQs, and I wanted to share with you guys really what situational awareness is and how we teach it, and a couple of the key differences too. Our Situation Awareness seminar was written based off a culmination of years of experience in the military, private contracting, and my international travels in between there throughout the last decade here that I've been living in the Minneapolis St. Paul area. And a lot of the official training, the more structured training that I received was from the military and basic anti-terrorism travel, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, when I deployed, we applied that a little bit more directly and kinetically in Afghanistan and elsewhere. As I moved on through my life, we also, when I got sucked up into global security with Thomson Reuters, I enjoyed myself quite a bit out there too, because what we were doing was basically getting our executives ready to travel into the high risk countries. Specifically, I concentrated in South America and a little bit North America, but mostly South America, Central America too. And again, there too, that was where we started coaching, trying to get our people up to speed on paying attention to their surroundings in these new countries. And the one thing that I noticed as I was working with these people, not only in corporate America but in the military too, and everywhere in between, um, one of the things that I noticed quite a bit was that it seemed like when people were trying to pass on this type of knowledge, it was mostly done just through memorization. And the end state is always very clear. Like, we always know that we want to pay attention to our surroundings, and we always know that we want to be able to proactively take action to avoid or mitigate compromising situations, or take advantage of an opportunity that pops up we may not be prepared for, or just be better prepared to interact with our environment. That can be either through interpersonal communication, personal protection in the business world too. This has been applied plenty of times. But, anyways, yeah, like I said, I saw quite often that a lot of people just wanted to know what the end state was. Like, how do I react to this single situation? And if I let my classes run that way, it would just be a nonstop line of questions of, okay, how do I get ready for this situation, or what do I do when this happens? And living your life by what ifs is not really going to prepare you for your unknown unknowns, for what happens when you don't even know. How do you know? How can we really try to prepare for situations and situational awareness if all we're trying to do is memorize how we're supposed to react in the end state? So what my approach is more so the mindset, and what I try to teach and what I do teach is the mental model of the OODA loop to get my clients into that mindset of paying attention to their surroundings, but also not just for the purpose of getting the best spot in a coffee shop and sizing everybody up and trying to do the Jason Bourne thing where you memorize license plates or anything like that. The real mindset that we're trying to teach and that we are able to instill in our clients is that situational awareness mindset, that OODA loop, that constant cycle of observe, orient, decide, act. And the beauty of that loop is that it's continuous. It just keeps on going. If you concentrate and if you challenge yourself to subscribe to that type of mental model. That's why the way that we teach it is in an interactive and immersive environment too, because I know that I'm not just going to stand in front of a PowerPoint screen for 60 minutes and drone on and hope that some words catch and somebody walks away with some type of knowledge. No, I already know from personal experience that death by PowerPoint is not the way to deliver this type of class. So that is why the class is actually a fully immersive and interactive class. And my previous students who have been through the class too can tell you the same thing. They were not just you don't just sit in your seat and behind a table throughout the entire class. We actually get up, we do things throughout the class. We have a couple of guided activities. I can't go away too much without you guys paying for it, of course. But honestly, yeah, I built the entire class to demonstrate and to instill the actual mindset of situation awareness instead of just the reactive and just the actions that we think that we were trying to shoot for. Um, like I said, I try to make this as practical and as relevant as possible too. So I'm not exactly teaching the combat mindset. The combat mindset is something that is suitable for a combat environment. It's not suitable for back home in the civilian world. Despite whatever uh, stories that you may read and whatever outside factors that may lead you to believe that you're living in a combat zone. Well, you're really not in the United States. Trust me, I've been to combat zones. This is not a combat zone, and for that reason, the combat mindset is not quite necessary. Um, that was something that I struggled with my first time coming home from Afghanistan. Came home in 2011 with not too much support, and I tried to apply that combat mindset, and that kind of led me down a different path for some time there. The second time around, when I came back home from Afghanistan just a year ago now, I felt like I was much more prepared for it. Not only because I decided to start Alice Defense, but also because through my time when I was overseas, this all of last year of 2000, well, 2 years ago now, I guess I got home last year. But when I was overseas for that 13-month job, I was writing situational awareness. I was writing this entire class, and I knew that part of that was the process of getting myself ready to come back home too, and to be able to settle back into the civilian environment with basically no lag time, no time for a transition or anything like that. I mean, we went from Camp Dwyer, Helmand Province, Afghanistan, to good old Minneapolis, Minnesota. And throughout the course of maybe, I think that whole movement was about a week and a half. And the only reason it took so long was because the military was taking their time with military flights and supply and turning over gear and stuff like that. But none of that time was really dedicated to reintegration because they assumed that we already had that taken care of. And my way of handling that was, yeah, it was really pouring everything into the situation awareness class. Not only to help myself, but also to help everybody that I can too. Everybody that's interested in this type of knowledge and applying this type of mindset. That's who I built this class for. And as I've said this plenty of times before too, and I try to mention this as much as I can, the other reason I offer this class is because I know that it's not my place as a firearms trainer even to tell you that you have to get a firearm to feel safe. More often than not, if somebody is on the edge or somebody is being talked into a firearm, most of the time they'll probably feel safe with studying and applying situation awareness in their everyday life. That that is pretty much what they're looking for. All that they're looking for is something relevant to help them feel safe with their perception of the current threat, of their perception of their threat level. Um, Now that perception can vary from person to a person depending on your line of work or whatever your history is or anything like that. And that is why I offer the wide variety of training that we do between situation awareness to firearms training and everything in between the closest distance. I'm always happy to refer that out. But honestly, like I said, that's why I have this client flow. That's why I offer situation awareness first and then firearms training if my clients are interested in firearms training. So again, I hope that addressed as many questions as I could that have seem to be popping up quite a bit about situational awareness. Like I said, it's a 1 hour class. The next one is on December 9th. It's the first Monday, sorry, January 9th, first Monday in the full week, the first full Monday in January coming up here at 5 o'clock at the Bryn Mawr Community Gathering Space. Like I said, it's a 1 hour class, and like I said, all that we're trying to do is share that state of mind of mindfulness, of being aware of your surroundings, um, not being totally reactive, and not just planning out these different courses of action every single time that you walk into a room, because that isn't nearly as constructive as putting yourself in that mindset first. And then all those other things will naturally come to you too, as we with more training and more concentrated effort too. But the first steps is just getting into the mindset. And if you try to skip the mindset and go straight to the execution, you're just going to be one of those people that just memorizes courses of action and just hopes that your memorized or your predetermined courses of action are going to match up with what reality is. And as I say in my class plenty of times too, our perception of reality only matches up with what is really going on, with what reality really is, maybe 80% of the time. When we're caught off guard, that's that 20% of our day in which our relative paradigms do not match up with reality. And that's what I'm getting you guys ready for, is that 20%. So, anyways, hope this was informative to everybody involved. Again, Mark Hawley with Alice Defense, Confidence Through Competence. You guys, thanks for tuning in as usual. And have a good holiday weekend.